Hey guys, I'm in West Dayton at the Paul Laurence Dunbar house. Mr. Laurence was born in 1872, became one of the early black literary figures in the United States. He wrote poetry mostly, and one of his poems called Sympathy begins with the line, "I know why the caged bird sings," which became the basis for one of Maya Angelou's famous poems. During his childhood, which was shortly after the Civil War, there was a common belief that black Americans had been happier under slavery because they smiled a lot and they were just happy being poor and doing menial labor. And he compared that to the way a bird sings, which should not be mistaken for a bird being happy being in a cage. The first thing they do when the gate opens is they fly out. He also wrote sometimes in a emerging Midwestern dialect at the time, although most of his poems were in the Southern slave black dialect. The United States, the Midwest, had been settled very rapidly in the space of about 50 to 75 years with mostly German and Irish and Americans from the northeastern United States who assimilated and spoke differently than the prevailing northeastern dialect. And around the 1870s, 1860s, that began to be put into writing, and he's one of the early writers of the Midwestern style also. He also began Dayton's first black newspaper. He was still in high school at this time. Get back to that in a second. Mr. Dunbar's father had been a slave in Kentucky, as his mother. His mother left her this house, sold it to him as she aged. His father escaped from slavery during the Civil War, went to Massachusetts and fought in the Union Army. Afterwards, they settled here in Dayton. It's kind of a nice neighborhood, at least the street is. It's been bricked. There's extensive demolition in other areas of this neighborhood. So back to the newspaper. He wrote this paper. He needed to find a publisher, and he found a publisher, the pair of brothers who had begun to, who were the children of a preacher, a Methodist bishop. One of the regional Methodist denominations had their seminary here. He taught in the seminary, and so he published a lot of the Sunday school material for that denomination, or the brothers did, thanks to their father's influence. Well, the brothers set up shop here in a neighborhood that was predominantly black, and partially just because they were nice people and partially to earn goodwill of their neighbors, they published this newspaper. Those brothers' names were Wilbur and Orville Wright, who later got into the manufacture of airplanes after they were supposedly invented in the small city of Bar-le-Duc, France, which I've been to because of my name. And then they began to experiment with the airplane, and we know them today very famously. This is called the Wright Dunbar neighborhood, and their house and the Wright Brothers bicycle shop and print shop are now in the national park system maintained by federal taxpayer money. Have a good day, everybody. I'll holler at you later.